So Kevin Lee is making the move to Tristar. Let's get into this. This is big. This is really big. He's coming off a couple losses, tough loss to RDA and Ally Quinta and the Tony Ferguson. There might have been one more in there. I think that was it. Yeah, those fights were tough fights. What we've been seeing from Kevin Lee lately, we see he's he's just looked like he's gassed out. Like I don't know what it is, but I think I think he gasses out. But let's get into the TriStar thing. Um, if you know TriStar, you know that's famous for producing George St. Pierre. And Firas Zahabi who runs it. He's a genius. Everybody knows that. Joe Rogan always talks very highly of him. He talks like he's maybe the best mind in the MMA game. So he's a very well respected trainer and just a martial arts mind. So Kevin Lee's going to be moving to Montreal and train with George St. Pierre and Firas Zahabi and the rest of the TriStar team. So let's talk about what this means for Kevin Lee. I think any MMA fan that knows Kevin Lee and has watched his fights sees that he's extremely skilled and there's really no holes in his game. Like he can strike. Like let's compare him to Khabib for a second. I don't think the wrestling is at the level of Khabib. I'm no way saying that at all. But his wrestling is elite, and his striking, I would compare it to the Khabib right now. Like Kevin Lee can hold his own right now. He's definitely very quick on his feet, so he can move around very well. He knows how to stay in there in the striking ranges, but he's got a elite wrestling. Now, if you think about that, who does that remind you of? That reminds you of George St. Pierre. He's not an elite striker, but he can stand with you, and you know he's an elite wrestler, and he just mixes it all together so well, just so well. So with Kevin Lee going to TriStar, I know Firas Zahabi is going to try and implement a lot of the stuff he implemented with GSP, and try and get Kevin Lee to do that perfect, like unpredictable style that George St. Pierre had, where you never knew what George St. Pierre was going to do. Was he going to jab you? Was he going to double leg you? Was he going to straight into a body kick? Was he going to front kick, front body side kick? You never know what George St. Pierre was going to do. This is really good for Kevin Lee because, it's been out there. The jury's been out there that Kevin Lee is great, but he just needs a camp. He needs to go to a better camp. And now he's got that. So I'm really worried for Kevin Lee opponents in the future because this is big. I can't say it enough. This is massive for Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee is going to come out of this looking like a totally different fighter. I can't wait to see him, and let's talk about this for a second. The biggest problem with Kevin Lee so far, like I've been saying, is he gasses out. It appears like he gasses out. He just gets really tired, and I think a lot of that comes from him just doing too much heavy wrestling actions in the early rounds. You see sometimes he'll just commit to certain wrestling things that you probably shouldn't commit to. Like he'll get the takedown, and instead of just taking his time and just trying to advance position and things, he works way too hard. He works way too hard on the ground, and that really gets to him in the later rounds. It's a good thing. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just a cardio thing, but that would be my guess. He works really hard wrestling in the early rounds, and I think he should pace himself, and instead of just always trying to wrestle sometimes, just be comfortable standing. Be comfortable standing and try and set up an easier takedown instead of just going and trying to get the really difficult takedown when the guy's ready for it. You know, try and set it up. And I think that's what's gonna come with going to TriStar. It's gonna be a lot more setups in Kevin Lee's offense, and defensively, I think they're gonna have him doing a lot of better footwork, just like GSP had. So the what I've heard is he's gonna be training with GSP actually. So that's GSP is definitely gonna give him a lot of pointers, and that's definitely gonna help him a lot. So in his next fight, expect to see Kevin Lee. He's not. It's gonna take a little bit for him to, fully become into that TriStar system. But in his next fight, expect to see Kevin Lee looking much more fluid and much more sound technically in his transitions and his setups and everything. His footwork. Expect to see a big improvement there. And I would say 2 years. I think Kevin Lee's like 25 or something like that. So he's really young. He's got a lot of time. So expect to see in like 2 years, I expect to see him fighting for a belt and becoming champion. I don't see any reason why Kevin Lee can't become a champion. You tell me. If you think Kevin Lee can't become a champion, you tell me why in the comments. Because I don't see anything that he can't do. He can strike with you every range. He's comfortable in every range. He'll get more comfortable in every range with TriStar. And his wrestling, he has elite wrestling. Tell me why that's not a champion. Training with the best trainer in the world. It's arguable, debatable, but he's Firas Zahabi, one of the best trainers in the world. That's a fact. You tell me why he can't be champion. I'd love to hear why. So yeah, Kevin Lee to TriStar. This is big. This is big, guys. Can't wait to see his next fight. And Kevin Lee, if you watch this, keep going, my man.